Okay, so tell me more. Tell me more.
It was just a spiritual retreat. That was a lot of rituals, a lot of prayers to our ancestors.
Okay.
Um,
Tell me more.
um, it was just one of those experiences that I could have never planned for.
Mhm.
And where I thought I was going to walk away feeling one way, life just showed me other things. Where I thought I was lacking, the experience helped me to understand that I am lacking nothing, that I am standing in my gift, and that I can go forth boldly in what I've been called to do, or what I just been born to do. I'm not even going to say called to do. I just been born to do what I do. And so where there was some thought process that I needed to do more, I need to learn more, I needed to, or I in layman's term, there was an experience, a vibration in me that kept saying, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I need to get more. I need to sit under this person. I need to sit under that person. I need to, and the reality is that that's not true. For such a time as this, I am. Even found a journal while I was there for the book of Esther 4:14, and which says, is it possible that you were created for such a time as this? And
Mm-hmm.
it just grabbed my attention. I picked it up, I purchased it. And yeah, it's been good. It's all good, and just
And you
staying
know,
in the
that's
spirit realm, you know.
yeah, that's one of the reasons why I say that that you when you stand up in your knowing, you solidify your knowing.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
while you're thinking on it, it doesn't, you know,
Right.
yeah, it doesn't happen. And that's the wonderful thing about this section on intuition.
I know. I think oh, I'm sorry, Sandra. Where did you go? Hold on. That's the part where I'm talking about where that just all the synchronicities or serendipitous experiences. It's very, 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 very true. Like
Yeah.
that everything is intentional and moving in the space that it's in. But if you're not aware of that, or if you're not surrounded or in a space where you can be affirmed of that, you can wander around wondering, ready, set, ready, set, ready, set.
But I don't think it's so like I think that what I think that there was a time when I was kind of in that space, and people would say that same thing, but I don't know that it's something that somebody can tell you. I did this on Sunday. I
Never
did
for
this
me.
talk about Jesus and his mother had gone to a wedding, that
Yeah, I
Canaan
heard
wedding.
that. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so when his mother turns to him and said, they've run out of wine, and he's like, woman, what's that to me? It's not my time yet. And one of the things that I found intriguing about that story is that she no longer addressed him. I didn't say it what I got to say to you, right? She no longer addressed to him. She turned to the servants and she says, whatever he tells you to do that. And it was this thing of, we got to stop waiting for, I got to get one more degree, or I got to get this, or I got to get that. You just got to step into it and then do it. And it's in the doing that you get it. And sometimes even not then, right? Because I know when I started teaching A Course in Miracles, I would stand up in the class thinking to myself, like, by what authority do I do this? You know, I'm sure that there's going to be somebody that shows up in here that's been studying this thing for 20 years and they're going to know more than I do. Mm-hmm. But you know what? So here's my thing is that right now, people may know way more than I do, right? I'm not concerned about where I am in the, like, if we're on a track. I'm not concerned about where I am on the track. I'm on the track. Mm-hmm. And so that's the place I have to deal with myself, not who's before me, who's behind me, who's running next to me. It is in the doing.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and I don't know what Jesus's hesitation was in that moment, but I can speak for myself is that I had to, and that's what this weekend was for me, is I had to understand that that I came here intrinsically to do what I came to do. And it's not comparing myself. It's just giving myself permission to be in my soul's experience as opposed to the fleshly experience of this journey. Because the fleshly experience, if I take my fleshly experience, my earthly experience on this journey, everything about that says, no, not yet. You don't qualify. You're not qualified. Kind of like Christ. He was born a bastard, if you will, because he didn't have a father, blah, blah, blah. On the earthly plane, he would not have qualified. But from a spiritual place, you came qualified from the beginning, from conception. And that was an understanding that I received for this weekend, to do what I do and to trust what I do and to know that it is all good. Right now, the blessing is now, and to just stand in that vibration, unwavering, because I always give myself credit in the therapy room. Always. I watch all of my videos from internship to now and the work that I do, and I'm just always in amazement and in awe. But then I don't carry that out in my everyday life. I don't carry that energy, that same knowing, that same awareness. Before this weekend, that was my journey. That was my experience. That was my truth.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I'm so glad that you had that experience. I am happy to see you back.
I am glad to be back.
Yeah, I have, so it's so funny because I was like thinking to myself, like, sometimes you just keep me aligned, girl. So I've been going overtime and running off at the mouth and telling stuff that I'm like, oh, can't even believe that came to me. So I've been being wild. I feel like a wild woman sometimes. And it's all good.
It is
so good, and it is so juicy. But I am like, oh, where did that come from? Because things just bubble up.
They do.
And then the other thing that it makes you so aware of is that that these experiences, even though it may seem like 20 years ago or 5 years ago or something like that, all of these little experiences, they come up, and at the time you don't recognize the richness of the lesson.
It's so true.
But it's, I was telling somebody about that Slumdog Millionaire movie.
Yes.
And so when he got on that the Millionaire show, they was like sitting up here thinking, how could this boy possibly know all of the answers to these questions? And it's like, well, who knew that I was going to meet a blind kid in the gutter, in the alleyway, or that's going to tell me a clue, or who knew that this was going to happen, that was going to show me this? And so it seems like all of these disparate parts come together in the moment that you need them. And that's what's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
True. Yes, it's true. It is so true. And to just watch, I like the language you use about the serendipitous experience of life and what we might call a coincidence. Mm. Mm-hmm. It all is a part. Since, I think I talked about the last time I was on before we started this chapter. One of the things I love about this chapter is that I was right in the season of my journey where I was calling in all of my missing parts, calling them back to myself, like calling these parts back to me. And then I go to this rich spiritual ceremony, and then we're reading this book on intuition and self-esteem, the third chakra area. And then I had a reading that talked about that I am already imbalanced in my solar plex chakra, which I would declare with my mouth I am not. I would declare that. I would say, that needs to be like really tightened up. But it's not true. I just had an expectation that was not realistic. But I think that everything falls in line. Like everything is the way it's supposed to be. The people that we meet, the experiences that we have, are all a setup.
So good morning to everyone. Good morning. As you can see, Stephanie is back, and I am so glad to have her back. But I will tell you that this takes us right up to where we are, because one of the things that I had asked the other day was about this idea about whether was subjective or objective, right? That was the question. Where do we get our self-concept from? How we see ourselves and how we see our life. Do we get it from how other people see us? Or is it more so how we see ourselves? And so today it was like we're in this thing called, we're talking about intuition. And, we've come through a whole lot of, for me, I don't know where everybody is on this thing, but we come through a whole lot of information as far as talking about this idea of intuition. And so yesterday, as we talked about this thing of what intuition is not, like where it's not prophecy, it's not, fortune telling and all of that stuff, but rather I keep talking about how intuition works for me, and how intuition works for somebody else may be totally different, right? So, and so I talked about, back when we originally started doing this, I do believe, I talked about intuition in that sometimes you may hear things, sometimes you may just know things, balls to bones, as they would say in the Matrix. You just feel it in your bones. Sometimes you see words, sometimes you see pictures. Caroline, in this book, Caroline, in this book, she talks about a lot of different impressions that she got. Like yesterday, I think we talked about the impression that she got of the horses at a racetrack, but the horse never leaving out of his stall, never beginning to run the race, and then trying to interpret why that is. What's the story behind the images that we get? And so a lot of times we have this thing called intuition, because if you meditate, or if you do prayer work, or if you're spiritual, even when you're not, right, you get messages on a regular basis. But then there is this need to have the audacity to apply or to bring meaning to what it is that you receive. And so it's not based on, say, for instance, like if I'm sitting back and I'm waiting for somebody to give me the attaboy or that's okay or something like that, that means that I am in another realm altogether. And let me explain to you why. In the Course in Miracles, there is this obscure line that is found in there that says, and I keep pointing it out because when I read it, it was so big for me. It says, no people pleasing. No people pleasing. Let me say it again. No, that's spelled N-O. That means none. That means zero, zilch, people pleasing. And so when you're people pleasing, what you're doing is you're looking for permission. You're looking for the likes. You're looking for a whole bunch of outside stuff. And you can't stand in your power when you're worried about what other people think. And I will tell you, if I make everybody happy, I ain't said shit. If I don't challenge you to think about your stuff, I ain't said nothing. So even when I say that I'm sorry, I'm really not, because I'm not trying to please you. I'm trying to say what shows up inside of me. Yes. And part of that showing up inside of me and being able to say it then opens the doorway to more. Mm-hmm. So when you think about self-esteem, you know, I mean, and this is for all of us. When you think about self-esteem, what is it that you base your own sense of self, your self-worth, your self-esteem? What is it that you base all of that on? Is it, you know, because sometimes we're so busy worried about how we appear in the eyes of others, and that's not self-esteem. That's your ego stuff. It is. Right? Mm-hmm. So when you go through these things, you have to think about what it is, what's at the base, what's really there when it comes down to how you feel about yourself, your own self-worth. Hey, Christine, good morning to you. So think about that kind of stuff. You know, is it your money? Is it your, you know, your title? Is it how you dress? Is it, you know, is it family or friends? Is it the opinions of others? Is it, you know, what is it that is based on? And if it's based on something that is outside of you,
that's the work to do. That is the work to do. That is the work to do. And societally, it's the work to do. It's the programming piece. One of the aspects of my journey this weekend was surrendering. Surrendering has always been a part of the journey for me. And surrendering to what? Surrendering to my own idea of who I am. Period. Like, that's it. I just got to surrender to the own idea of who I say I am, not who they say I am, or not who this book says I am, or not the opinions of others. Sitting in the seat of, I surrender to who I say I am, and then walk therein, in that space all the time. Even as a clinician, there are rules that I want to follow, because I'm a rule follower, you know, and there's these rules that I want to follow. And when I go outside of the rules, I'm always like, is that okay? Is that okay? Is that okay? So thank God for my supervisor who is constantly, you know, encouraging me to just stay in my gift. Like I was like, well, maybe I should utilize EFT and study more and go to some seminars and like really tap into that. And he's like, yeah, no, whatever this is that you do, you just keep doing that. You just keep doing that because it's amazing work. But I had to accept the fact that it's amazing work. I had to own that because, you know, if it takes a car 4 wheels to be efficient and I'm only operating in 3, a broke down car is a broke down car. Whether it's 1 wheel that's broke down or 2 wheels that's broke down, it's a broke down experience. It's not fully moving in motion and moving forward. And you just where you can actually have a smooth ride. And not people pleasing or not being okay with what, not worrying about, I don't like the word worrying because that's like so minimal, because it's a deeper soul experience when we don't give ourselves our own name, our own experience, rename who I am. It's deeper work than worrying about what other people say. It's stuff on side, like when just using the case with Jesus' mother, when he said, you know, they need this, and Jesus is like, it's not my time. It's not that he was worried about what people, I think. Well, I'll speak from my own experience. I don't know what Jesus was thinking. But it wasn't that I was worried about what people thought. It was what I thought about using the gift. You know, if Jesus at 12 was sitting in the synagogue, he might have imagined that I need to be in the synagogue. For me, I've been in Christ and Christendom and church, utilizing gifts with permission because I am in this space in as a clinician. Because I am in this space, I can use that gift, and you use it without thinking about it, you know. But then outside of that space, it's like a wedding, for instance. Spirit gives you information and you feel like this ain't time for me to be using that gift. Nobody's asked my permission. They're not paying me to tell them what I see, because I see some stuff, you know. Or, you know, what if I lose that connection by sharing the awareness that you have? So it's just, that was the work that needed to be done.
That's really good stuff, because I will tell you, so everybody that knows me, I mean, y'all may not know me, y'all may be encountering me for the very first time. I'm Sandra. But y'all may not know me, but I am a rule breaker by nature. You tell me a freaking rule and I just believe that I need to break it, because I don't like boxes. I don't like boxes. And so even when you show me a box, the title minister, well, okay, shit. And so what does that mean? But now I will say that you know, so I appreciate that perspective, because I don't always understand people who follow the rules, because I just yeah, you're not the boss of me. let me say that again. You're not the boss of me. That's been that, even as a child, I felt that way. You're not the boss of me. and so to get that perspective, now here's what I will say, that I thought that was pretty bold for you to call Jesus a bastard. That's some funny stuff. So it's really interesting, you know, to even come at this, because I will say that I have, even though I'm not a rule follower, I have good friends, yourself included, that will, Alan for that matter, that will pull out the rule book and read you line and verse. Let me tell you what happened. I'm gonna give y'all just an example, because I can talk about Alan, because you know he got a pretty thick skin. But one time I used to sell a lot of stuff on eBay, right? And so one time I sold something like, I don't know if it was a bra or something, but I sold something that was in a, I had to wrap it in a pack and I needed to mail it off. And I took pride in trying to mail stuff within 24 hours of somebody paying me for it. And so I had him drive me by the post office to mail off this package. And so we go to this post office that has the mailboxes sitting out, and they got the little slots that come up sort of to meet your car. And so I handed him the package, and when he stuck it in there, I could still see the package. It didn't go down. And I said, oh no, somebody can just come along and take that out of there. I said, give me that. I'm gonna go put it inside, right? I just told him, give me that. And he told me, he was like, no, he says, it's against the law to take a piece of mail out of the mailbox. It's my freaking mail. And he was like, that's the law. He says, if you take a piece of mail out of your mailbox that's not addressed to you, he was like, that's against the law. I got out of the damn car and I shut the door. And even though there was people behind us, I was like this. I put my hand up like, you better stop. And I go over there and pull out of the way. And I went over there and snatched that thing out of the mailbox, and I walked my happy ass right into the mail thing and dropped it in the thing. He's telling me about some rules. Girl, the hell with some rules. Whatever it is like one of those things that I'm like that, when was that Oprah Winfrey was in that Color Purple walking down the street with her arms flowing like, darn it, I'm about to have a time up in here with y'all. I'm gonna be that Black woman, right? Like, no, you're not gonna tell me because you're not the boss of me. So I think that we have to take that same authority with everything we do in our life. And you know what? Sometimes I may fall flat on my face. Sometimes I may get it wrong. Mm-hmm. But I have known that I can get something wrong and still be all right.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that I find, especially when I'm giving my talks, is it's even when I say it wrong, you hear it right. Or spirit has a way of transmuting what I say in air. And sometimes when it's something that you have, like, you get stuck on, like, say, for instance, when you call Jesus a bastard, it's like I had to, like, right? And now it's like, okay, now let me, so then that means the wrestling with it in your mind solidifies it in your mind. And then you think about what you think about that, so that you can know whether or not that is something that you want to incorporate into your thinking or reject from your thinking.
Right.
And so even in those times, those moments, if I quote a scripture wrong, or if I get some other, whatever, that wrestling to reconcile what it is that you heard with what it is that causes you to wrestle with something which solidifies it even more. So all of this stuff happens, and it happens on purpose. It's not something for us to sit there and just like, she ain't say that right, I'm gonna reject this. This is about you.
Yes.
And so if it's about you, then you take it, because fortunately, none of us come here as a clean slate or a clean tablet. We are always taking this up against what it is that we've learned in our lives to see that it's true. Mm-hmm. So over and over again, I talk about the goodness of people. I told a story the other day about, about some African guys that I met. We talk about the goodness of people. And so what people do is they take that and they compare it with what they see on the television. And when you haven't had enough life experiences, then you're comparing what you see in your life with what's on the television and thinking that the television is real life, and the television is not real life.
Right.
The television is bringing you, if you want to look at it like, a concentration. You know how concentrate is they take a whole bunch of negativity stuff and then they squeeze out and give you the drops of negativity that they found and smushed together to tell you a narrative or tell you a story. And then you go around thinking, wow, there's,
well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that if you're constantly feeding, if that's what you're eating, then we become what we eat. So yeah, if I'm eating negativity, I'm gonna become that. If I'm born in a space of perfectionism, I love Brene Brown's book on the gift of imperfection. That's the vulnerable part for me, was knowing that I did not have to be perfect. And perfection is just not an option. But I am perfect. I'm perfect, but it's not an option to be perfect. It just is. Like, where I am in this moment is the perfect moment for the perfect me, for the perfect time, which is now. I don't have to effort into that. I don't have to make a decision or a choice because I need to get it right.
Right. So too, one of the things that I did is I looked at my definition of perfection. And perfection, as far as my understanding of the definition, is to be all that it can be. Not without flaw. It is all that it can be. So a moment is perfect. You are perfect. When we are coming into and being our full truth, our full self, that's perfect. And that's what it can be.
Yes.
Not being like somebody else, not the dress up or the window dressing or all of that stuff. It's
the balance,
showing up,
perfect balance. Yeah.
Yeah, showing up. Just show up. And when you show up in your truth, when you show up in your fullness, that is perfection. Oh, I love this stuff. So what's the basis of your esteem? And I just would challenge folks to sit with that, and if it is exterior to you,
think again.
Yeah.
Think again.
Yeah, get to a place, and we talked about I don't know what day that was. I don't know if it was Sunday or whatever day it was, but we talked about the mirror exercise again. We talked about going through and trying to just really get a stronger sense of yourself, because a stronger sense of yourself is so necessary when it comes down to intuition. Because you have to have the ability to follow or to even hear what it is that you're saying. So if you're mousy, if you're uncertain, if you're not going to listen anyway, because it may cause you to have to do something or think something that is totally off. And so I love this. So yeah, it means that at a certain point that you've got to be in the driver's seat, that you gotta take the wheel of your own life. Yeah. And for so many folks, that is
terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the most natural thing ever, because it puts you back centrally in you. Right? It's not about the other folks or other people and what they thought. It puts you
But that's
back.
Not how we've been. That's not white, black, purple, or green in this United States. I haven't been anywhere else to talk to other people. Well, I have this weekend to talk to other people from other places, but that's not the basis of our understanding. We got to be Christ-like. We have to be, there's so many external things outside of us that we are programmed to believe that we have to be in order to check the box off. You know, a good, whatever we choose to do, there's always this little box that we imagine that we have to check off to say, got it right, got it right. And so reframing that experience has been
Do you think that's true for everybody?
No.
Okay.
No, anything I say, I don't think is true for everybody. Okay. I don't think it's true for everybody. I think that if somebody is imagining that their self-esteem is not where it needs to be, I feel like a lot of times that people have a belief that they should be a certain way or they need to match a certain thing. But nothing that I say here or anywhere else do I imagine is for everybody, ever.
Okay. So no people pleasing.
Yes.
No people pleasing. And that's why I tell people that was one of the, things that I was solidified through going to Vipassana, was that it wasn't about the people that was around me. It was like me finding my center and standing in that. And I'm not going to say that was where I found that truth, but that was where I solidified that truth. In that 10-day experience, and Vipassana is free, you guys, for anybody who has the audacity to go. It is a 10-day silent meditation retreat, 10 days of meditation, 10 hours a day, and it's silent. And it's free for your, for those of you who want, but it's got to be one of the hardest, most gut-wrenching experiences I have had. But it is the truth. It is the truth. It is the truth. It'll turn you back on yourself. So we are in the third chakra on page 181. In Anatomy of the Spirit. And we are talking about, as we have been mentioning, we are talking about intuition. And so yesterday, as we talked about this idea of what it takes to just kind of be in a space where you can accept the things that you get, and to have the courage to lead this out. One of the things that in this paragraph where I am starting out, it says, if a person suffers from low self-esteem, she cannot act on her intuitive impulses because her fear of failure is too intense. And so yesterday we talked about this guy, Evan, who was being ripped apart because even though he had a desire of what he felt like was his life purpose or his life calling, and it was right there, but he kept saying not yet because he hadn't perfected, it wasn't perfect yet. And so he kept not being able to do what was his to do. And so one of the things that a statement that I love, because I repeat it to myself all the time, if you spot it, you got it. If it's before you, it's for you, right? It is yours to do. And so that means, for me, that I'm not sitting around worrying about what somebody else is doing or not doing, what they're saying or not saying. I'm not in that space. It is mine to do. I am not going to sit there and point the finger and say, it's mine. It's mine, right? And for me, I think that that's one of the things when I talk about this spiritual maturation, when I talk about maturity, that means that, I can do that. I can do that. And not only can I do it, I will do it. Right? That is part of how I step up. That becomes part of the force with which I want to lead my life.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes do I walk around thinking about, is this appropriate? I think about it. And then what I do usually is I make it appropriate. So it may be that at a certain point, I may not be in the appropriate place to have the conversation, but I can make the conversation appropriate for the place, if that makes sense. So yesterday I went out with, went out with some of my sister friends from elementary school. And this has been beautiful. It's been just beautiful. So one of my classmates is a judge, Anita Laster Mays. And we were all sitting around the table and we were talking about, just where people were, like, old schoolmates. And we were kind of going down names. And the one of my friends, she was saying that, I could remember anything and everything from elementary school. She was like, it's this year, I can't remember. So we were just kind of going over and talking about how true that was. And so we brought up the name of somebody, and the wonderful thing about Anita, she's got her mind is really sharp. And she was like, she said of somebody, she was like, yeah, at 13, there was this guy, and she named the guy in our neighborhood. And she was like, and he was doing all kind of stuff. And he got her hooked on heroin at 13. And I'm like, right? Stopping, like, what? Like, where was I? And how come I didn't see this? And how come everybody else at the table seems to know about this? But it just seems like I must have been Mr. Magoo and walked past and didn't see a darn thing, right? And there was a lot of stuff that I didn't see. But what's interesting is Anita said when she was first elected to her position as judge, she says one of the things that I put down is because I was in charge of drug court. She was like, I gave them names of people. And she was like, if this person comes in, if you pick up this person, I want them in my court. I'm gonna cry. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. So this one woman who she talked about, this happened at 13, used to live right over here. I mean, I still I knew exactly where her house was. I remember loaning her address of mine, and she got a spot on it. And my mother was like, I told you not to be loaning out your clothes. So this is somebody I knew well, right? And at a certain point, but of course we, that whole thing, I didn't know that she had gotten strung out. Anyway, she said that she came into her court, and she says that she told her, she was trying to put her in a program, and she said that the girl, she told her to come back, and she said that the girl didn't come back. And she said, I got in my car, and she says, I went over there and I found her ass. And she says, and I pulled her up out of there. And I said, you are going to go through this program. And so she said that this girl had been strung out for like 15, 20 years. And so she got her clean. I'm sorry. I don't even know why I'm crying. Give me a second. I don't even have any tissue in here. But it's so interesting to me, because sometimes what we do is we don't recognize that the stuff that happens to us and for us is not for us alone. If I have my experiences, or if I go through something and I sit and I think that it's all about me, and I never recognize that the blessing that I have is not just for me. It's not for me to sit here and put in my pocket or to take to the bank and just think that it's all about me. And when I do that, what I'm doing is I'm that's the ego. It's easing God out. It's cutting that piece out of the pie. It's not what that's about. We have to use who we are, our life experiences. We got to come to the table with this information. And it's only through that, having the audacity and the boldness to apply the things that we learn to life so that people can see that there are choices out here. I never forget a story where this woman, she was like, same kind of instance. She was, she was strung out, and she says, nobody ever told me that there was a different way of being. She was like, I have been, my parents got high. This has been something that has been around and been my life for so long. Nobody ever told me that there was a different way to be. Mm. And so we make assumptions about people and things, and we get caught in our judgments. And so therefore we don't, we sit there thinking, that somebody ought to know, but they don't, so no, you don't have to sell your body. You don't have to give your body. You don't have to allow people to use you. You have the ability to just make decisions for yourself. So I read this book by what's that woman's name? And people are funny. Folks, we get caught in our judgments, and people are so funny. Melinda Gates wrote a book, and I can't even remember what the name of it was, but she wrote this book. And immediately when I talk about Melinda Gates, people get all mad because they say, oh, she was out here, and I can't believe that you would read her, because what she did is she out here trying to sterilize Black women. And I was like, wait a minute.
For the Planned Parenthood founder?
No.
Okay. No, I've never even heard of her. So
no, Bill and Melinda Gates.
Okay. Oh, got you. Okay. Right. Okay.
So what she said is that if you can't control your ability to reproduce or to make a decision about when to reproduce, you will constantly be stuck in poverty. Mm. Because what happens is that you have no control over how many kids you have or any of that stuff if you don't have the ability to make those choices. And she was like, that's what stands between what in her estimation was poverty and control, right? And so what she was talking about is let's give these women the ability to make decisions on their own. Let's give them, if they need condoms, let's give them condoms. If they need birth control, let's do birth control. If they need to get their tubes tied, then let's do that. But don't make people not have choices. If you got the wherewithal, then they need to be able to make choices and decisions on their own. And so a lot of times what you see is you see people who are seeped in situations in poverty because nobody ever told them there was a different choice. I mean, and sometimes at 12, 13, people, they because the rules say no, right? The rules say, if you follow the rules, if you were a good girl, you wouldn't be in that situation. Or a parent will say, you know what, that's like condoning it if I let her get on birth control. But then the other part of it is now she's got
an unwanted pregnancy.
And her choices become, for some folks, they maneuver through it. But for others, they're that window then starts to look really bleak. Mm-hmm. That opportunity gets smaller and smaller.
Right.
So sometimes we have to recognize that not everybody is equipped with what we are equipped with. And until you open your mouth sometimes and share information, empower people, give them the tools that they need to use in order to make a difference in somebody else's life, that to me is just, I don't know. Y'all may do it, but I think that to me is just, that's selfishness, because you're not recognizing that God put you here, not just for you. Mm-hmm. Whether you believe it's God or not, right? Your life is not just about you and you alone. Yes, be happy, right? Yes, go after all of that stuff, but also know that you are here to be used by something bigger and greater than yourself. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I done went through and I done boo-hooed on here. I'm not sorry, but I'm just apologizing because, man, I could. It's like I just went down that road. Yes.
Well, and I mean, and it came from the scent. This very scent is profound. It says if a person suffers from low self-esteem, she cannot act on her intuitive impulses because her fear of failure is too intense. So I took that as, if you don't believe that your experience has an impact or a meaning or a purpose, you know what you know, because most likely you've experienced what you've experienced. You know what you know. You can speak into a circumstance because of where you've come from or where you've been and what you've experienced. So go boldly. If you are to rescue. If you've been in, my story, domestic violence and all of that, you can now go and speak to that because that's been an experience that you have. But if you feel like you have to be perfect, or if you feel like those blemishes on that piece of paper disqualifies you, then you are not going to do what it is that I'm going to use the language, called to do, because you feel like that is a smudge against who you are, and it disqualifies you from like your friend that was the judge, and I apologize, I don't remember her name and you just said it, but she could have even used her experience to say, I'm not qualified to take this position of authority. Right. But she said, I'm going to take the position of authority because, life is funny like that, that I would be placed in this predicament and given authority in this area where that used to have power over me. Now I have power over it per se. And then to be able to reach out then and now empower another somebody in that journey, because I don't have to be perfect.
Yeah. And you don't have to have permission. Give yourself permission.
Yeah.
Right. But the other thing is that, like what I'm saying to you is even if you don't have any experience, right? Somebody starts out with zero experience. Somebody starts out with the zilch. But if you spot it, right? Because sometimes I look and I'm like wondering, looking around thinking, does anybody else see this? Does anybody else see this problem here? And if I spot it, I got it, right? It's not for anybody else to see. Sometimes you see just what is for you to see. Everybody else may be just, going past and they just see the bush with berries on it, right? And Moses walked up and it was burning for him. So that was because it was his to see. It was his to do something with. If you just looking like, oh, there's nobody else sees this, if you spot it, you got it, it's yours, right? So don't get caught up in doubt. Don't get caught up in all of that stuff. And if you're judging something, there's nothing you can do with what you're judging. Stop judging. Stop judging yourself. Stop judging other people. That rubber band exercise I gave you about living in the past, you can do that about your judgments too. If you're sitting there, thinking about, what does she have on? Or if you're thinking about how somebody pronounces their words, if you're thinking about, all of that external stuff that is blocking you. Not only is it blocking you, it diminishes you. Your judgments don't diminish me, but they do diminish you, right? They have no place right here with me, but they will have repercussions for you. So stop it. Just, it goes against, it's antithetical to where you are trying to go. Intuition, like all meditative disciplines, can be enormously effective if and only if one has the courage and the personal power to follow through on the guidance that it provides. Woo. And that's so big. Guidance requires action, but it does not guarantee safety. Don't you love that, right?
True.
It doesn't guarantee safety. I mean, Stephanie could have went for her thing and any number of things could have happened, right? When I went to the Vipassana retreat, you want to know what happened? What happened was that we were on a campground, and this campground had dorms that we stayed in. And so in each of the dorms, we shared rooms, and there was the dorm for the women, a dorm for the men, and a dorm for the people who were volunteers, a dorm for the old students. They had a male and a female dorm for the old students. So there's like 5 or 6 different buildings. And the building that I was in had a bed bug infestation.
Oh no.
Yes. And then what these knuckleheads did was, because we couldn't talk to one another, we knew that there was problems, but we didn't really know what the problems were. Because it's a silent meditation retreat. And so you're not supposed to make eye contact, and you're not supposed to have any conversation. And so we didn't know what the heck was going on for sure, until all of a sudden the bed bug infestation got so bad. And then this is what the killing thing was, is that they told the women that the bed bugs were apparently on the bed or the bed frame, and so that they should sleep on the floor. And you should have seen them that next morning. Their face, every part of their body was just covered with these red, itchy things. And if you've ever had a bed bug bite, you know that is misery. It's like a flea bite. Now, not even a mosquito bite, because a mosquito bite is one thing. A flea bite is another thing, right? Those things are itchy, but it's like a flea bite on steroids, because it gets hard and it's red, and that bad boy itches. And I don't know too much that takes that out of there, but time. And there was that bed bug infestation. And so you had people that were trying to get out of there, but we could not talk to each other. So it made it bad. So I had read up on bed bugs before this. I had already, because I had a tenant that had said he had bed bugs. And so I had already studied my stuff around bed bugs and was trying to make traps so that, that I could isolate this bed bugs and get them out of that unit. And so I had already read about how they crawl or how they move and why they were bed bugs, because they needed that fabric in order to crawl up. And so if so nobody asked me though, because we couldn't talk. Yeah. And so when they told them to sleep on the floor, I was like, that's the worst place that they could be, right? And I think I snuck and told somebody, I was like, don't put that mattress on the floor. Don't, that's
Or take
crazy.
the bed bug infested mattress and put it on the floor.
Well, the bed, because yes, that's what they told them, but it's not the mattress that was the problem.
If it was in the frame.
Yes, it's in the frame, but the it's on a campground, and in the dormitories, the beds are plastic anyway. I mean, they're covered with that nylon that you should just be able to wipe off.
Because, like a hospital bed.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so they can't necessarily crawl very well on that smooth surface.
Okay.
But once you put a sheet on there, they can crawl on it. Okay. Or if they're on carpet, they can crawl on it. So there was a problem with putting the mattress with a sheet on it onto the floor. And so it was just giving them more access and making it that much easier for them to get and to feed.
Right.
And so all of that becomes part of this thing. And then people wouldn't listen to me because they were being told something by somebody else. And I was like thinking, okay, I'm not supposed to talk anyway, even though I was going in there talking to the people that was running the place. They were like trying to tell me about, okay, go ahead and do what y'all want to do. I actually caught my bed bugs because we had signed a contract that we wouldn't kill anything for that period. There was you couldn't kill even a mosquito. And so I caught my bed bug in a cup, and it was the one bed bug that tried to get in my bed. But what I knew I got in my sheet. So if you can imagine that a fitted sheet goes around the bed, but I made my bed go around me so that I could have the plastic on the sides, and so they couldn't get they couldn't get onto my stuff or onto my sheet. So I was perfectly okay. But one of the things that I just think that that all of our experiences, whatever we go through, this is about the growth. That challenge came up for those people. And in that challenge, one of the things that they did, they chose to, some people were like, okay, I'm getting out of here. I'm checking out. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes this thing of, just because you go someplace, doesn't mean that you're going to go and have a great experience. I mean, these people had to take off 10 days. It's a 10-day commitment. You can't do any less, not on your first time around. So the people who flew there, or the people who drove there, or who took off work to be there, some of those people were, saying, oh, I got to go. Mm-hmm. But this here is saying that when you follow your intuition, it doesn't guarantee safety. It doesn't tell you that, oh, you're going to go do this and everything is going to come out hunky-dory. You may get covered in bed bugs.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that it's wrong. I had an accident.
That's good.
I had an accident last week, Stephanie, on Thursday. Messed up my car. Yeah. So I'm carless right at the moment. But that doesn't mean that my intuition wasn't working. That's what I was saying to them the other day. It's like I had to do a check-in after it happened, like thinking, man, did I get any warning signs? Was there something?
I do that too. Yeah.
And that I didn't ignore, that I didn't hear. And so I didn't ignore anything. I didn't have any moments of override. But what I did have is the moment it happened, I got out and saw how bad it was. At that moment, I got this overwhelming feeling that this is going to turn out better than I ever anticipated, than I could even imagine or expect. And so it was like that gave me a sense of peace. That was an intuitive knowing that just was like, and I knew it in my bones. I didn't have to hear it. Nobody had, it was just like, this is going to be all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm standing in that. And so everything, it doesn't guarantee safety, but what happens is that it does empower us. It does, give us the spiritual musculature to deal with whatever it is. You know what, I didn't even get out of this paragraph, so let me
go ahead, finish it up.
while we measure our own success in terms of personal comfort and security, the universe measures our success by how much we have learned.
Oh my God, so true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I keep calling this God school that we're in. And so, like, where are you on the course? And this is not about whether or not you go to church every Sunday. Not about whether you
be about that.
Right? It's not about whether the pastor knows your name or not. It's not none of that, right? How much have you learned? How much are you able to apply it in your life? How much are you willing to use your light to help others? How able are you to love? How able are you to let go of your judgments? How able are you to show up in the moment, knowing that no matter what, sometimes messed up stuff happens, but to know that all is all right
now,
even when it seems like the shit has hit the fan, it's already all right. Yeah. And in those moments, how do we then transform that moment to know that whatever comes to us is there for our highest and best good? Oh man, I love this stuff. So long as we use comfort and security as our criteria for success, right? Right. So if you hot and without air conditioning right now, right, you might know what I'm talking about. So long as you use comfort and security as your criteria for success, we will fear our own intuitive guidance, because by its very nature, it directs us into new cycles of learning that are sometimes uncomfortable. Sometimes they ugly, sometimes it's just not what you would expect for a person who is successful, right? So long as you're judging by those worldly standards, you may be missing the whole kit and caboodle. Man.
Yep.
Oh, that's so good, And so yay.
So no people pleasing.
No people pleasing. No people pleasing. No people pleasing. Yes. Yes. And no going back. Sometimes we walk into situations where we're comparing, where people want to compare themselves to one another. So whether it's the clothes you wear, the car you drive, what your hair looks like, what your degrees are, all of this stuff. At times you have to recognize that, strip yourself bare freaking naked. None of that stuff matters. None of it. None of it. It doesn't add not one iota. That's hard for people to hear because we spend a lot of money thinking that it does.
Oh, yeah. And we look at, I know we're getting ready to go, but we have outside reinforcers. So if anybody needs, to understand, to know that it is understood that you didn't get here by osmosis, you didn't come to this on your own. There are outside forces and things that encourage that, but doesn't make it true. And if you have come to a place where you like, I want to follow my intuition, then do that and understand that the comparisons are the things that hold you back. Or one of the things. We're going to learn a lot of things that hold us back. But we weren't, I think Carolyn Miss mentioned in the first part of this section, I wasn't here when you guys were working on it, but we didn't come here born with self-esteem. It's a building process. And so if it's a building process, that means that we can tear it down and restructure it. Just like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can tear it down and restructure it. You can reclaim it, rename it, and decide who you are. You get to decide that every single moment. We get to decide if we want to see it and then say, okay, I own it. I see it. It's mine to do. It's mine to do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me, I'm going to check. Let me just look at my phone right quick, because other than Christine, I didn't see anything that came up. And so I just want to, okay, it looks like, it looks like other than we just got, Gretchen, Sarika, Stephanie, hey, okay. Okay, so I see that other people are watching, but just didn't comment. So I just wanted to check and make sure that, yes. I just wanted to check and make sure that I didn't miss any comments down there in the window. So thank you so much for being here. Hey, Sarika. Yeah, Sarika, you heard me talking about these classmates. And it's so funny because another classmate of mine, hey Gretchen, Igina was on here the other day, and I was like, look at this. So I have people that I went through school with that I'm so blessed to still have in my life, in whatever capacity. I'm so blessed, so blessed, so blessed. So I love y'all, and I appreciate you being here. And and so we will be back on here tomorrow. We'll be moving into, there's a woman named Sandy that went to a workshop, and so we'll be talking about her when we come back on, and keep moving through this material on the third chakra. So welcome back, Stephanie.
Thanks
for being here. And each and every one of you, love and blessings to you.
Lots of love and blessings.
Yeah. And I will see you guys tomorrow.
Yes. Have an amazing Tuesday.
Yes. Terrific Tuesday. Amazing Tuesday. I think I'm going to get, thank you. I think I'm going to get on, I need to pull out my bike.
I got for you.
But I'm gonna pull out my bike and
you gonna ride it today? 90 degrees.
Go,
girl.
Yeah. I overslept this morning, I should say.
Did you? Girl, yeah, because you weren't on this morning at 5.
Yeah, I was not, because I put the air condition. I have this rolling air conditioner. And so I decided, why is it sitting up there? I'm going to roll this back into my bedroom instead of having it someplace else. And I guess I just totally didn't hear the doggone alarm or something. I didn't wake up until 5:30, a whole hour.
Oh, wow.
I overslept by an hour.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. So,
it happens. Trust me.
Yeah. Stephanie, Sarika said, what's your Cash App?
Oh, I don't use it. I use Zelle. Sorry.
Bless your heart, Rika.
Thank you, Rika. You have to reach me through my Facebook, because I don't use it. I don't use Cash App.
Okay.
Yeah, but I appreciate you so much. Deep bow to you. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bless your heart. All right, y'all. Yes. Yes. Happy
Tuesday. Let me know if you need anything. I didn't know you were in your car, had a car accident. So if you need anything, please let me know.
Okay, thank you. I need to check on the status of my baby and see what's happening with it, if anything. You know what? I got Progressive insurance, and so I've been.
What you got to say? Are you trying to crack me about having other insurance?
So yeah. So
You can call me later. I'm just getting ready to go to the office, so you can call me later.
okay.
All right. Love you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Love you.